Hello, you glorious station. So tonight on the program, oh, your heart's gonna swell because we have two master crooners who will make you feel like you're nobody till somebody loves you. Tonight in the red chair, the pride of Burnaby, British Columbia, Michael Bublé's back.
New words for George?
Heartbreak, hurting songs, and being crazy in love.
I love you. You look good.
Plus,
What is a man?
he's one of the biggest stars of the 20th century, hung out with presidents, hellraisers, even the mob. Now imagine what it would be like if he were your dad. We'll talk about it. Frank Sinatra Jr. tonight. I'm your boyfriend, George Stroumboulopoulos. You're nobody till somebody. I don't know what I'm saying. Because tonight we have two guests on the red chair who remind us of the Rat Pack era, proving that big red leather is the new classy. Stop dropping your G's, since tonight is going to be swing. I'll keep going. I'll Ron McLean your ass all night long with puns if you want. I'll keep going. We've got quintessential gentlemen on the program tonight. So tonight we deliver the You Can't Get Enough extended versions of their time with us, like dancing cheek to cheek with your boyfriend and your favorite balladeer. Very excited to have on the show a man who honors his father's famous legacy that he left behind. And he was open, too, an open book when he was on the show. A very revealing conversation with a guy who's not just a Sinatra, but he's a Frank Sinatra. Frank Jr. on the program tonight. So. And when he showed up in the green room, he looked like Frank, he sounded like Frank. I was time warped to a time that I was never at. It was powerful. But you know, the legacy of the crooner extends beyond. One of the greats who is doing it today, if not the greatest doing it today, is a really good friend of our program, a Vancouverite who's been touring the world over the last few months, Michael Bublé. He puts the jazz in the jingle bells. Bublé's on his way out. Here's his bio. You know, the best love songs, the ones that really get you in the gut, aren't actually about love. They're often about breaking up, broken hearts, or just love gone bad.
I still feel all alone, just wanna go home.
So what happens when you're a multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning crooner? You're famous for singing these great hurtin' songs, and then suddenly, well, you're crazy in love. You're happily married. Well, we'll ask Michael Bublé, because he should know.
And you'll make me work so we can work to work it out.
Michael went through a tough, very public breakup a few years ago. He had to do some soul searching, some growing up. We talked about it.
For me, it had a lot to do with what I've gone through in my career or in my life.
And he figured out what was most important to him. It was his family. And it was through his family that Michael connected with the girl of his dreams, Luisana Lopilato. Calls her Lou. Lou's an actress, a singer, a model, and in Argentina, where she's from, she's even bigger than Michael Bublé. Since getting hitched, Bublé's been cool singing those songs about lost love, but how about writing them? We do know that happiness has helped him open up in other ways. It's led him to record a new Christmas album, like the ones he loved as a boy growing up in Burnaby, BC, where he is still more famous than his new bride.
You know that all I want for Christmas is you.
He's also got a new photo book. It's an intimate peek into what his life in the spotlight looks like.
You don't need a catchy song, 'cause the kids will sing along when you sell it with a smile.
Nice to feel us.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Everybody. Hello, everybody.
Hello, brother. Michael Bublé's got a Christmas record.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. What's going on?
Nothing, man. I'm happy. Good. Everything's good. I got a Christmas record coming out, and my mom just texted me right before, and she said, "Are you going on the George Snuffleupagus show?" Is it on tonight or is it taping?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, let's say hi to your mom for me, please.
Of course, absolutely.
Welcome back. And I love the fact you're having a Christmas record. A Christmas record for an artist is like in the old days when a country artist had to have their gospel album. It was just rite of passage.
Yeah.
And for you have to put out a Christmas record, right?
Yeah, man. I waited because I felt like this Christmas record was going to be the most important record of my life.
How come?
Man, people think I'm crazy when I say that, but I felt like if I made it right, if I did a good job with it, if I did what I thought I could do, that it would be part of my legacy, you know? And I think Christmas meant so much to me growing up because my family made it so great for us. And that Bing Crosby record was playing in the house constantly. It was a big part of my life, you know? It had a big impact on me. And so I felt like, you know, if I had done this the right way, that maybe I could, you know, make an impact on somebody else, you know, and you know, be part of their celebration. The truth is, man, it's really humbling to, you know, knowing how important this holiday is for me. It's humbling to be invited into millions of people's homes.
You know, there's this idea that, it's an old, like, great love story idea that when you looked at this, you know, the Danube River, that if it looked blue, you were in love or you were heartbroken, right? So your view of this river changed based on where you were in your heart. When you sing songs that are essentially beautiful love songs and sometimes breakup, heartbreak songs, when you've got a solid relationship and you're happy and you're married, like, is it different for you to sing these songs?
No, I gotta just put, it's like being an actor. I mean, you go and you read the script and you take yourself to a place that allows you to be emotionally honest, or as emotionally honest as you can be. And that was a good question, because everything I've ever written, everything that's become a hit for me, from Home to Lost to everything to Haven't Met You Yet to Hollywood, I was in a bad or great place. Either I had come out of a relationship and been destroyed, or I had destroyed someone in a relationship, or there was always, you know, this heavy, you know, sadness or happiness, and now I'm just like this boring, happy, you know what I mean? I wonder now, like, am I gonna be able to write a song? Because I feel, I'm like happy.
You're happy. Well, you know, because there's always this moment where a stand-up comic is really great, and the moment a stand-up comic has kids and starts telling jokes about his kids, I'm like, okay, check please, I'm done. So, for you, do you have to dig a little deeper, work a little harder? Because that's what's good for your life is terrible for your art.
Yes.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Are you struggling with that at all?
I'm starting to, with the writing, yeah.
Just get her to be mad at you.
Because now, what do I write? It's like, I'm writing, and it's like, you know, I could eat this, or maybe not. I don't know, there's nothing there. Like, when I wrote the song, Lost. I sat on the piano and I was wasted, completely. And
in your house, just sitting at the piano?
I was in Australia.
Okay.
And I was on this piano. I can't play the piano, but I was like, I write my songs on playing the chords. I can only play the chords. And I was like, out of it. But I was really sad. I'd come out of this long relationship, and I like sat down, and I remember like plunking out this melody and going like, can't believe it's over. I watched the whole thing fall. And I never saw all the writing that was on the wall. And it all just came. And now, what am I gonna sing about?
Well,
what am I gonna sing about now?
Well, what are you gonna sing about?
Well, things are pretty good. What are we gonna do tonight?
If you think about it, you know,
I wanna see a movie.
There's this great picture of you in this book and also stories. But what interesting to be in this really happy place, which is crazy considering that when you first met her, she didn't even think you played for her team.
No, totally no. Right? Well, she didn't speak English.
Right.
Like, for those of you who haven't heard this story, I'll make it very.
So Lou is his wife.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I meet her after a show. I've finished a show in Argentina, and I'm really down about my relationship that's broke. Really bad. It was a bad time for me.
This is the Emily one or the previous one?
The Emily one.
Okay,
I'm in with. I got my grandpa with me, and I was struggling through it. This is about 3 months after. I was having a bad time. And anyway, so I finished the show, and I'm leaving out this driveway where they've taken the VIP guests and sort of stuffed everyone down. And I leave, and I see about 40 feet away the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I turned to my grandpa, and I said, Grandpa, that is the most beautiful woman I have seen in my life.
What did he say?
And he said he didn't see her. He just had to trust me. He didn't see her. So, but but I was really, I can't tell you how deep I was, like, bummed. Like, something affected me, and I looked at him, and I said, you know, Grandpa, I said, I'm never gonna see her again. You know, that's it. Like, I've seen this girl, and something hit me, and I'm never gonna see her again. And an hour later, an hour and a half later, we were in the bar, the hotel. They had made us a little party thing, and we were in our own private room, and like I said, I was down. I was drinking too much at that point, and the guy who runs the record company in Argentina said, would you like to meet one of our most famous actors and actresses? And I said, oh, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, fine. She walks in the room. She's with this dude who makes Brad Pitt look like a fat, ugly dude. Oh. Like he's incredibly good looking. Dude is really good looking dude. Like whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I can't compete with this dick. And that's what I'm thinking. And I'm looking at him and her, and I'm thinking like, oh, awesome. You know, I meet like the love of my life and her husband or her boyfriend.
How do you know she was the love of your life and not just a hot girl?
Dude, there's something, I can't explain it. Can't explain it. Anyway, turned out the love of my life couldn't speak English.
Right.
It turned out the love of my life's friend could. Yeah. So I sat with him, but I didn't want to hit on her because I thought they were together. I didn't know.
And coming out of the relationship, you're trying to be a good guy now, right?
Of course. So I'm talking to him, trying to figure out in very roundabout ways, like really. And of course, I'm on my 4th glass of scotch, and I'm starting to like, I'm starting to say like, I remember actually saying to him like, oh my God, your arms are so big, eh? You got some, you're all muscly, like holy shit, I'd love to have those muscles. And then I said, like, you guys are really good looking together. And he was like, no, we're not together, you know? And I was like, really? You know, she's single? Yes, she's single and she likes you. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest night of my life. But what I didn't realize is, she's at the same time on the text with her mom saying, oh my God, I come to meet Michael Bublé and he is so gay.
She actually thought you were homosexual.
Flaming.
Because you're going like this, right? To the guy. Yeah.
That's what she sees. She can't. So she doesn't understand the words. She just sees me going, "Or you're really dirty boy. Oh, you girl booger." We joke about it. We joke about it now because sometimes, like, I even wonder if, like. Oh, and nothing. I just think it would be funny if, like, I accidentally, like, looked down or something like that, and what she would really have done anyway.
If you actually were gay, yeah.
So, yeah, so she found out that I wasn't, and I actually told her, man. I said to her the second night that I hung out with her, I said, you know, I'm going to marry you. You know, I'm going to come back here, and you're going to learn English, I'm going to learn Spanish.
How many scotches at that point when you said that?
That was sober. The next day, sober.
Right.
Yeah. And later, I asked her what she thought about that when I told her that I wanted to marry her. And she said her honest thought was, yeah, every guy say that to me.
Is there, you know, when you have, especially in the beginning, a big language barrier, are there nuances that get missed?
It was really tough.
Yeah?
Really tough with that language barrier, absolutely. Things,
like your
a lot of
comedy,
things
all that
got taken out of context, or especially texting was bad news. I mean, you could get into big fights for, you know, not understanding how you mean to say something with a tone, or because and now it's perfect. Now her English is extraordinary. Like, she's a smart girl.
She got to meet your grandfather?
Yeah, my grandpa's. Yeah, she got to hang out with him lots.
So did you say to him, "That's the girl I was telling you about"?
Oh, he knew. He was with me.
Yeah.
In Argentina. So when I first met her.
But he didn't see her at first, right?
No, later. Oh yeah. He said, "Oh my God, But from what Can I tell you a funny story about him, really quick?
Yeah.
I was in Italy and I was dating this girl, and she was really a beautiful, beautiful girl.
I find that so hard to believe.
I can't remember what her name is, but
I can't remember what her name is.
I don't remember what her name is. But she was beautiful, and my grandpa's hard of hearing, and my Uncle Butch passed away this year. He's my grandpa's little brother, and we were having dinner together, me and this girl and my uncle and my grandpa. And my grandpa's really hard of hearing, and so when he talks, he thinks he's being quiet. And she didn't think she even spoke English.
Right. Oh,
and he said to my Uncle Butch, "Holy Christ, you see the on her?" And she said in this great Italian accent, "I understand you, Grandpa." They were those two boys on the road.
Yeah.
We call them the Sunshine Boys. I miss my uncle so much, and my grandpa misses them, and they came everywhere with me, man. They were like kids. I mean, they were both funny as shit. They both said stuff like it's like they turned into 17-year-olds. I mean, my Uncle Butch, the first time we got on the tour bus, it was in Italy. We all got on the tour bus and we watched these beautiful girls walk by. And my Uncle Butch looked at all us guys on the bus and he said, "Ooh," he said, "well, I like to play carnival with her." And we went, "What is it? What do you mean carnival?" He said, "Yeah, you know, she can sit on my face and I'll guess her weight."
Oh my God.
That's my Uncle Butchie. I miss him.
Are these the male role models you learned about women from? Is this how it went?
Yeah, this is where I got my humor from. They're just such funny, self-deprecating guys. And
didn't your grandfather play a role in your first date in a weird way? I heard that you were on your first date with Lou. You talked about your grandfather like it was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was on the phone with my grandpa, and man, I can't even talk about it now. Holy crap!
Oh, dude, I get it.
Anyway, I was on the phone with him, and he told me he wasn't feeling very well. He was tired a lot, and his heart wasn't. He knew something was wrong, you know. And so I came into the room, and I started saying, I said, you know, Lou said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, my, you know, Grandpa's not feeling too good." And she said to me, she said, "Oh, you know, that's too bad." And I just said, "Yeah." I said, "You know, one day, you know, I hope if we have kids, you know, that our kids will get to know him. And I said, not just know him, not just know him in pictures, you know?
Yeah.
Not just know because of stories that we've told, or I said I wanted them to know how incredible this guy was, you know, the patriarch of our family, this incredibly generous, loving, funny, beautiful guy that inspired me, you know. Anyway, I couldn't talk. This poor wife of mine at the time, I started to cry, which is okay, you know. But I cried. I cried for like 2 hours. And I couldn't stop. And the more I thought about him, and
she flies all the way from Argentina?
She flies all the way to Argentina, and she's like, who is this puss that I'm with? And it was funny, because at that point, I was so broken up, I was so scared of losing him, and the thought of it was just far too heavy for me to bear, to process.
When I lost my grandmother, it's a game changer, so as long as you can, right? That's how
and so what was neat about my wife is when I finished being a little bitch and crying for 2 hours or so, I said to her, you know, I'm so sorry, I'm so embarrassed, you know? And she said to me, you are so sexy, she said. She said, you know, like a boy, like a man who can cry, that's some sexy shit.
Stick around, we're gonna find out the story behind Michael's collection of hockey pucks. Anthropology with Bublé after this.
As you can probably tell, we have a live studio audience. I'd love it if you would join us. Go to strombo.com/tickets for more.
Bublé. Okay, that's an. I had no idea. I had no idea you were on the X-Files. That's
Yes, it was a submarine episode, episode 125.
You were on the X-Files.
Yeah.
But,
Who wasn't?
Yeah, fair enough. What was that? What was the experience like?
It was awesome. You know, mostly though, it was in Vancouver, filmed in Vancouver. So that's how I made money on the off time. When I wasn't singing, I would go and do extra work and stuff. And I got kicked off the set, actually.
Were you too close to Dana Scully,
no,
or?
You're not gonna. This is the truth. You know, they treat extras so bad.
Yeah, it's
you know
cattle,
what I mean?
man.
Yeah, we're cattle. And so basically, I did the cardinal sin. I went to catering and took a hot dog.
And they threw you out.
Oh no, they didn't just throw me out, but the woman, the extra wrangler, was screaming at me, saying things like, "You will never work as an extra in this city again." And the worst part is I was like, no! That is the worst part, really. I was like, oh my God, no, like,
I need this.
I need this. It was so mindless, it was great.
That's fun. It's fun though, man.
Oh yeah.
You worked on your dad's fishing boat, right?
Yeah.
On your best
years.
day, how much fish did you catch?
30,000 pounds or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, in money, on a really big day, you could make 6 or 7 grand.
Is that like your fallback job if the singing thing doesn't work out?
Yeah, no, it's way too hard. It taught, you know what though, it taught me about camaraderie and treating people with common respect, because you're in a tight little area together, and how lucky I am now, because that job sucked. I mean, it was beautiful, but I mean, 20-hour days.
It's hard work.
20-hour days, scary, dangerous, cold, jellyfish in your eyes. It could suck.
Do fish like songs? Do you ever sing to the fish when you warm up to the fish?
No, but I would sing all the time on the boat. Actually, we had a great song we would sing.
What was it?
Remember that Terry Jack song? We would sing, we had joy, we had fun, we had salmons in our bum, but the pain was too strong, because the salmon was too long. Goodbye, Jojo, it's hard to...
Who put salmon in your boat? No.
It was just a hit.
You've obviously been able to play around the world and do a lot of different things, but did you ever meet, as a guy who's a Canadian and Italian, did you ever meet Berlusconi?
You know what? We had an orgy together.
You laugh, but it's almost true, right?
I don't even know.
It's almost positive.
We totally did a high five.
Oh God!
I've got this one. No, I never. I like that the people actually went, oh. No, I never met him. I've met lots of politicians there, but it's pretty, you know, it's kind of a little corrupt, I would say. So.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
No, I haven't. What a stud.
You're hearing about artists now who are singing, you know, people who perform for Muammar Gaddafi are feeling bad and giving the money back.
Ooh, you know that I think we got, Bruce told me that we were offered all of those things.
Really? And you said no to them?
Yep. No, I didn't. I'm not smart. I would have said, yeah! But my manager's smarter than me. He said, I don't think that's a really good idea, kid.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we don't make many decisions now for money, and that's the truth. Most of what we do is because we think it helps to build the career, or that it's a, you know, or that it's an important, good thing to do. It's not about the money now, because the money really never matter. But what my manager's a good manager. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't. He wants to work with career artists. He wants to build a career. You know, it's not about getting somebody hot and cold and getting them in and out. He wants to build a career.
Do you still have your collection of hockey pucks?
I do.
Yeah.
I have them in my office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the prized piece in that?
Oh, the Canuck puck, of course.
Which one?
It's signed by a bunch, as many players as could sign a little tiny puck. But yeah, I've got actually my office is where I actually keep the very few things that I keep. I've got I'm friends with Nancy Cartwright, who plays she's the voice of Bart Simpson, and she they made a Simpsons character of me and gave me the script, and everybody signed it. So I've got that there. I've got some hockey jerseys. I got a thing from Michael J. Fox. I've got
cool.
Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett drew me painted me a painting, and I've got that in there. So just stuff, you know, that's special to me.
Okay, so this book, I love there's so many photographs of you that are so, like, he's with you all the time.
Yeah,
There's a shot of you
Dean
in
Freeman
bed, dude.
He's a pretty amazing dude. His father's a great photographer. As a matter of fact, but what is that?
Look at this one here. With your Bieber?
That's from it's from a video called Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're exposing yourself a lot. How do you feel about that?
Exposing myself?
Well, I don't mean, buy the book and you'll find out.
Yes.
You know?
There's one, actually, that I'll just show you. Sorry about that, buddy. Let me see the back here. There's one that this is the one that's killing me, because every time I'm doing an interview now, I've had like 3 or 4 different ladies say the same thing, and it's so not a compliment. And my wife bought me this pig, and I take it on the road as a good luck thing. And where the hell is it?
I don't remember a pig.
Yeah, there's a pig. And she said, because she thought it was hilarious, because she called me Chanchy Chanchy, which is like piggy piggy. And anyway, so she bought me this pig because she came home one day and she said, "Oh, Mike, I find this pig, Chanchy Chanchy, and he looked just like you." And this is what I'm saying, the worst part is, I've done these interviews, and 3 of these interviewers have said, "That picture with the pig, you look exactly like it."
Oh, my God. Here, we'll put it up. We'll show it up.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking too much time. Here it is. What do
Everybody, he's got the book called On Stage, Off Stage. The album is called Christmas. It's Chanchy Chanchy.
Chanchy Chanchy.
We'll be right back.
All right, imagine if Old Blue Eyes was actually your dad.
When I was 17.
What would you do? Would you try to be like him? How hard would it be to forge your own path? Well, we'll find out. Frank Sinatra Jr. tonight.
All right, here we go. Bublé, Michael Bublé, once said there will never be another Frank Sinatra. One man who knows that more than most is Frank Sinatra Jr., who, if you want to get technical, is another Frank Sinatra. But we know what Michael means. Being an heir to that legacy, Frank's legacy, can be tough. Huge expectations. Just, you know how we're a product of what happened in our homes when we were growing up, the childhood? How unusual a family life do you think it would have been to be in the Sinatra home? But also those great stories. Your pop's coming home telling you what he went through. It was an interview that surprised me, especially for how open Frank Jr. was about his life. Here it is, the extended conversation with Frank Sinatra Jr.
Right. Has any celebrity ever lived life as large as Frank Sinatra seemed to do it?
I've got the world on a string and I'm sitting on a rainbow.
One of the most influential artists of the 20th century, he cleared the way for every teen idol from Elvis to the Biebs. Now throwing a tempestuous love life, a few mobster pals, shenanigans with the Rat Pack, and Francis Albert Sinatra was every inch an icon. Now just imagine if that icon was your father. Where would you fit in? Would you follow in the old man's footsteps? Would you do your own thing? That has been the lifelong reality for Frank Sinatra Jr. It hasn't always been easy. His parents split when he was just a kid. There was a messy public divorce, and when he was 19, he decided to set out on his own musical career. But then something extraordinary happened. He was kidnapped at gunpoint and held for a few days in Los Angeles. Dad paid the ransom, the kidnappers were caught, but the experience did not deter Frank Jr. He continued to perform.
And then I think I'll wait until the evening gets late and I'm alone with you.
Then in 1988, Frank Sr. asked his son to be his musical director, and it was a chance for him to connect with his father, who would die a decade later. And how Frank Jr.'s found a new way to pay tribute to his pops with a concert tour. Sinatra sings Sinatra. It is self-explanatory, and I'll save you the pun of him doing it his way.
Please welcome Frank Sinatra Jr. Great to see you. Pleasure. Welcome. Thanks for coming on, man.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your show.
How's things?
Things are pretty good.
Yeah. Sinatra sings Sinatra. That's the best title ever.
Well, that's what they decided to call my show some years ago. Yeah.
Just be a certain stage of your life where you had to reconnect with the identity of who your father is and what it is to be. I mean, you have the similar name, right, in terms of Franklin as opposed to Francis, but to be a Frank Sinatra and to be a singer, to be that. Did you have to take time to really come to terms with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, looking back on it now, because I'm nearly 70, I have to think I couldn't have picked a worse move as a vocation in my life, as a matter of fact.
Well, you know,
of course, when I made that decision, I was 18 and knew everything.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. When you decided at 18, did it come, like, why did you, just because this is where your heart was taking you?
No. It was kind of an accident. I was a piano player. And I wanted to write songs and play piano and things like that, which was what I was trained in from the time I was a little boy. And one day I got drafted into singing because the singer with the group I was playing with got drunk somewhere and didn't show up. And the leader of the band, who was a taskmaster, he looked at all the guys and somebody's got to sing tonight. And he said, I need a volunteer. And he pointed at me. He said, you. I said, why me? I'm the piano player. He said, well, your name is Sinatra, isn't it? And I said to him, being Sinatra doesn't make me a singer any more than being in a garage makes me a car. He said, don't be funny. Don't be funny. Get up here. And what? So it kind of happened by accident.
And there you go.
Oh, yeah, there I went.
Yes.
Right you are.
How would you characterize your relationship with your dad?
It was not really very extensive because he was doing his thing all the time I was growing up, and then when I became an adult, he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing.
Right.
But beginning in 1988, which was the beginning of the final years that he was giving concerts, I was his conductor. Mm-hmm. I was his music director. He was past 70 then. And I would go into his dressing room to give him the menu of the songs. And I knew that he was tired, and I would say to him something. I said, hey, Pop, there's a woman in the audience who's real hot for you. And he'd go, what? I'd say that she's going to give you the Tom Jones treatment. He says, what's the Tom Jones treatment? I say, well, you've heard my stories about Tom Jones in Las Vegas. Women were throwing bras and panties and hotel keys up on the stage. And he'd say, she's going to do that to me? And I said, well, somebody fitting, more a pair of support hose, a hearing aid, things. And he said, oh, ha, 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 that's just real funny. But I'd get his heart started.
Yeah, well, I sure would do it, wouldn't it?
Right. And he'd come out and do a bang-up show, and he'd look at me. He'd turn around and he'd look at me. And I would give him this. Get in there and fight. Mm-hmm. Because he was, like, all of us. That's the ultimate destiny of all of us. And that was when the relationship became really strong.
That must have meant an awful lot to you.
It meant an awful lot to me because of the fact that it's, the father-son thing can be difficult at best. Primarily, as a boy, every one of us, we need our father. Yeah. Now the shoe was on the other foot. At that point, he needed me. And that's what made it so endearing, in fact.
Well, see, I don't really know my father, but I had my uncle. And my uncle was this incredibly strong role model in my life. When your father was away...
Did he wear red socks?
My uncle? You know what? He might have. That's what I'm talking about. These are Sinatra
You're
socks.
in good company.
With the Red Sox?
Van Johnson,
oh, nice.
The actor years ago, was noted in those great days of the movies in Hollywood, the guy that always wore red socks.
Dynamite, every night.
You know who else wore red socks? My guardian angel in television, Jack Webb. He wore red socks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good. I thought you were going to say Stalin, and that was going to be bad.
No.
You know?
Remember Jack Webb? You remember
Yeah, I know Jack
Dragnet?
Webb. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, Jack Webb wore red socks.
Because people have such a strong relationship with him, did you ever resent the fact that people had this relationship with your dad and you didn't?
No, there was no need for resentment. The fact is, I've had trouble through the years trying to explain, especially to a lot of media people. The unfortunate thing is when the legend becomes bigger than the person, you lose the person. And this is not good. Now, it's great to be famous and all kinds of things like that, but when the legend supersedes the person, that's unfortunate.
Well, it's unsustainable, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. It's a good question. But I'm just thinking that there is a person behind all of this hoopla that goes on and everything. And I think it would behoove us in dealing with people to deal with the person. The legend will always be there. All you have to do is pick up a tabloid and you can see that.
It's so important to have friends that you can relate to, the whole idea of having your group, you know. When you were growing up, it would be hard to relate to Frank Sinatra Jr., you would think. Did you have your group of guys? Who did you hang out with?
Kids I went to school with. I went to public school, got thrown out of public school a whole lot of times.
What did you do?
Oh, I was a bad boy. I did a lot of things. Oh, yeah, I did a lot of things.
What do you mean, like smoking? No, everybody, even the teachers smoked.
I was never into drugs. That was not my thing. But I did some nasty things. I played a lot of nasty jokes on people and things like that. But no, I had my school of friends like everybody else, you know.
And you never had to find someone to relate to based on some of your realities?
No. You know, the thing of it is, I had one blessing. This business of fame and celebrity, I never took it very seriously. And I don't now. And I see this, and when this business comes of this absolute monster of celebrity, think of somebody like Lindsay Lohan. This is what I mean. Somebody who is putting themselves on here. And I don't know what to tell you.
But what would you tell her?
I'd say, listen, hon, don't lose truth. Life is life. And the business of celebrityhood distorts life. And as I have said, I read somewhere once, the enemy of truth is not falsity. The enemy of truth is distortion. Without that wonderful distortion, where would our politicians be?
Well said.
Huh? You know.
Frank Sinatra Jr., everybody. We'll be right back.
You were scared? I was scared. I was a little bit nervous, naturally, but the only thing I could do is hope for the best.
Fellas, do you mind if we go now? Because I want to eat him.
Okay, honey. Give her a big kiss, why don't you?
I love that moment.
I can't believe all the hair I once had.
What is Gloria? What, you're 19 at that time, roughly?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was not yet 20, and here I was. I didn't realize I had that much hair.
I mean, you were kidnapped, man, and the tabloids were there right after that. You ever look back at those days and go, what a life I've had?
Frankly, in that kind of an experience, I was pretty convinced that life, as you put it, was about over.
So you really did think that?
Oh, yeah. But the fact is, there were other people who said other reasons later when it came to that. Some sage philosophers, the great American benefactor of all well-wishers, Don Rickles. He said the only reason the kidnappers let him go is because they heard him humming in the trunk.
Oh, Rickles.
That was typical Don Rickles. You know.
He still pulls that off.
What a man. The things that they have done to him to get even with him. I remember one night, he was on the stage doing his thing in Las Vegas, and Sinatra came in, and he went to one of the trumpet players, and he took a cup mute from a trumpet and went over to Rickles and opened his mouth and stuck the mute in it and walked off. Didn't help.
No.
Didn't help.
Out and keep coming the jokes.
That's right.
What was Sammy like?
Sammy Davis?
Yeah.
Sammy Davis was a character and a half, grew up in Harlem. He was the kid who slept under the piano after rehearsal when he was just a little boy. He was in a movie with the great Ethel Waters sitting on her lap when he was 5 in a picture. And his father, Sam Davis Sr., and his uncle, Will Maston, the Will Maston Trio, they taught him to sing, they taught him to dance, they taught him comedy. And Sammy was just a master. And he just was so much energy. He was so energetic. My regret is it burnt him out at the age of 64.
Yeah, he should have gone on longer, right?
Much longer. And when he died, a whole lot of people began to die with him, including his friend Sinatra. Yeah. Sammy was brilliant.
Your dad loved Sammy.
Oh, yeah. Now, they went way back. And Sammy was a cause, along with a few other people. Lena Horne, the late Nathaniel, Nat King Cole.
What do you mean a cause?
A cause in the fact that in the days when Las Vegas began to become popular, the black performers could play in the showrooms, but they couldn't stay in the hotel. And it was Frank Sinatra who went to the people who were on the board of directors in those days who had rather shady pasts. He said, "Are you guys going to come into the 20th century, or aren't you?" And there was an absolute racial issue at that point. I saw it in my lifetime, even, in my career, I mean. And somebody said, well, we have white people, we have black people, and Sinatra, the story goes, said to them, the money's green. How about that? And they began to look at each other, and apparently the wheels were turning. And because of Sammy and those people, Las Vegas became integrated.
Right. It's incredible to think, right?
Incredible to think that that kind of stuff was going on. When I hear about racial things today, it upsets me. And I say, what does 20th century prejudice, what place does it have in the 21st century, other than in history books? But there's more of it, you know, than meets the eye, unfortunately.
Well, you know, in this interview, when you're talking about going to your dad to rile him up in the dressing room, you call him Pops. But when you say his name, you say Frank Sinatra, you call him Sinatra. Did you always refer to them like...
No, there's two people. On occasions like this, when they're talking about the professional, that's Sinatra. At home, that's Pop.
That's Pop.
So you go on stage, you got Sinatra sing Sinatra. Is there a song from Pops that you just won't touch?
I would never sing My Way. I thought it was presumptuous. And in 2006, here again, I was in Canada. I was at the Casino Montréal in Quebec. And my producer here in Canada, a man named Mario Bissonnette, who does all kinds of shows, he said to me, François, we have a problem. I said, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? And he said to me, the people now, you hear them in the audience, the show is over, they're saying, my way, my way, my way. They wish to hear this song. What do you wish to do? And I said, it's very simple. We get on the phone, we call back to the library in Los Angeles, and we have the My Way orchestration sent up here by Federal Express as fast as we can get it here. 2 days later, we put it in the end of the show.
The audience waited for 2 days in the theater?
No, not for 2 days, thank God. No, no, no. They went out to change their red socks.
Okay.
What happened was they were in the show that night, and I was biting my tongue a little bit. I said, wonder if they're going to laugh if I sing this song. Well, they didn't laugh. So then finally, after, 46 years in this business, 44 years in this business, I sang My Way for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you sing it in the shower before ever? Like that?
No, not at all.
Wow, that's got to be quite a moment.
Well, like I said, I thought it was presumptuous for me to do that song.
I suppose you do it all the time now, hopefully?
No, sometime.
Really?
The music changes constantly.
It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Frank Sinatra Jr., everybody. We'll be right back.
Hey, Canada. I may or may not be Jill Hennessy. You never really can tell with twins. Anyway, stick around and I'll tell you about a bit of subterfuge that went undetected for 40 years. Nazi subterfuge. Now I've got your attention.
something you might not know about Canada.
So Canada, I'm probably Jill Hennessy, and I may have promised to uncover some Nazi skullduggery for you. During the Second World War, German U-boats terrorizing the Atlantic needed accurate weather reports to plan their routes. In 1943, one U-boat undertook a top-secret mission. The crew set up an automatic weather station on the tip of Labrador, the only instance of German troops on North American soil during the war. The weather station, codenamed Kurt, was camouflaged, and aboard the stencil, Canadian Meteor Service, cleverly capitalizing on our fear of meteors. Kurt wouldn't be discovered until 1981. Could it have been transmitting data for nearly 40 years? And to whom? Probably no one, because when it was found, it had been torn apart. But I had you worried for a minute. I told you we Hennessy's were crafty. And that's something you might not know about Canada.
Thank you very much to Jill Hennessy, to our friend Bublé, and of course, Frank Sinatra Jr. Strombo.com is our website. You're a pretty nation, aren't you? Good things.